I'm going to talk, as my title says, about these misconceptions that we use, these terminologies, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. We use them in many different ways, but people don't truly understand what they mean. So I'll try and enlighten you, if you like, and put them into a One Health context. Really, it all begins with One Health, as we know, and the One Health vision that was put forward by FAO, endorsed by FAO, OIE, and WHO, was written first as a multidisciplinary, collaborative approach to improving the health of humans, animals, and the environment. Sounds great, doesn't it? But it gets better. There are many definitions of One Health. The One Health Commission talked about One Health as the collaborative effort of multiple disciplines working locally, nationally, and globally to obtain optimal health, etc. Then, the One Health Initiative talks about the One Health concept as a worldwide strategy for expanding interdisciplinary collaborations and communications in all aspects of healthcare. SEAHUN, the Southeast Asia One Health University Network that I work with, and Prof. Wiku and members in the audience here, they recognize the complexity of infectious diseases by expanding on the One Health vision, and they said that the Southeast Asia One Health University Network would foster sustainable transdisciplinary capacity building. So we're already getting a mix-max, if you like, a mishmash of these terminologies used in different contexts. And then we've heard already from Prof. Wiku about EcoHealth and One Health. This overlaps with the EcoHealth approach, because the EcoHealth approach is defined as being inherently transdisciplinary and recognizes complex relationships between the ecosystem and human health. And the ecosystem health disciples, if you like, they think that EcoHealth is a bottom-up approach and that One Health is a top-down approach, so they distinguish between the two. And it's interesting to paraphrase Prof. Wiku to say confused. He didn't write this with me, actually, we didn't write this together, but many people are confused as well. But I believe really that the boundaries are really blurred and getting fuzzier, and that we're getting too caught up with words. And in fact, when we're responding to outbreaks of disease, whether we call it a One Health approach or an EcoHealth approach, it's really rather irrelevant, as there are significant overlaps between the ecosystem approach and the One Health approach, and the idea of multiple causality in epidemiology. We all know that disease is always multifactorial, and that it needs strong systems thinking skills to achieve success. So it brings us back to the disciplinaries, and just some definitions then. Multidisciplinary is several disciplines, defined as several disciplines working together to address a common challenge, but independently within their own disciplines. Interdisciplinary seems to get a little bit more interrelated. There's an integration of ideas from more than one discipline, involves sharing and coordination, but the participants are still anchored in their own disciplines. Whereas transdisciplinary is defined as it transcends the boundary of traditional disciplines. There's a collaborative sharing of ideas, a much more holistic approach, and it integrates and extends these concepts and methods from among different disciplines. And these some analogies here. The multidisciplinary is thought of as additive, which is the tom yum. I'm using Southeast Asian food analogies here. The tom yum, the somtam, the papaya salad, where you can see everything in the salad. The interdisciplinary is interactive, 2 + 2 = 5, where you've made this dish where you can see some of the components, but there's a lot of fuzziness in there that's giving a warm and fuzzy feeling. And then transdisciplinary is defined as holistic, so you could say 2 + 2 = yellow. In other words, you've got this dish, these fish cakes here, and you've absolutely no idea what's in them, but it ends up being an absolutely delicious dish at the end of it all. So it seems really that transdisciplinary, that approach, seems to be the approach most suited to understanding what we call wicked problems. And I first learned of that term through Will Houston, and I've used it ever since because I love the sound of it. So what are wicked problems, and how do they relate to One Health? Wicked problems are defined as being complex, tangled problems, difficult to define, difficult to solve using standard approaches. Many possible solutions, all of which have multiple scenarios. Solutions may generate unexpected consequences, and they're often a symptom of another problem, which brings us back to One Health. Because here are some examples of One Health issues that are inherently wicked problems, and they require this multisectoral transdisciplinary approach. Zoonotic disease response and control, food safety from farm to fork, Many issues of the animal-human interface, pollution, cross-species interaction, animal products trade. Issues at the wildlife-livestock-human interface, human encroachment, bushmeat consumption, ecosystem change. Antimicrobial resistance. There's a tremendous overuse of antimicrobials both in human and animal medicine, combining to produce a problem in the future. And then disaster preparedness, where rescue and emergency services don't just have to look to rescuing humans, but also to rescuing the animals that those humans depend on. So it makes sense to me, and I'm sure to all of you, that the multiple disciplines involved in disease response understand each other's roles and responsibilities and develop ways to work together to solve complex problems. And really, the best way to embed the philosophy of One Health approach, eco-health approach, whatever you like to call it, in future outbreak response and disease investigation leaders is for multiple disciplines to be trained together wherever possible. I'm not saying a whole course, although I really was interested in the course that we just heard about from Rwanda, but wherever opportunities arise. Which brings us to interprofessional education. And according to the World Health Organization, interprofessional educational IPE is an experience that occurs when students from two or more professions learn about, from, and with each other. And interprofessional education draws on multiple disciplines to acquire a deep and thorough understanding of complex issues such as what we call wicked problems. But it's very difficult to encourage visualization of complex problems in the classroom, and attempts to do this often end badly, as I've found to my own ends in many situations. Students falling asleep, people not listening, people leaving, etc. So the classroom is not the ideal place. Of course, it has its role, but it's not the ideal place to train, particularly with interdisciplinary training. Which leads us to experiential learning. And again, we've heard about experiential learning from some of our speakers today. I'm really delighted at the cohesiveness of these group of speakers that we have at the table today, because we're all saying the same thing in slightly different ways. So experiential learning is an absolute key to IPE and refers to the practice of students entering a practical environment to better understand how to work collaboratively in real life situations. So working in groups is not the same as working in teams. Back to teaching those One Health complex issues that I mentioned earlier. How do we teach these One Health complex issues in the field? Well, I see multiple opportunities there. I'm just going to show you visually. Zoonotic disease response and control. We have markets where we have multiple species. You can take your students and discuss these issues there. The food safety from farm to fork. There's abattoirs, there's food safety establishments, there's markets, etc. The public health. The livestock-human interface. There's livestock markets where we can take our students, we can discuss issues, we can look at issues, we can look at the potential consequences. The wildlife-human livestock interface. There's wildlife farming in many parts of the world, bushmeat consumption, there's zoos. You look around you, there's plenty of opportunities to engage students in issues involving wildlife. Antimicrobial resistance. There's many farms we can go to which use and abuse antimicrobials, and we can look at the patterns of use, and we can discuss the issues, and we can discuss how to change people's views. And disaster management. We have disaster management clubs which have been established in Thailand and other parts of Southeast Asia with a local NGO, a disaster management NGO. And that's a very effective way of getting students engaged in real world problems. Can also use these field training opportunities to support problem-based learning, simulations or tabletop exercises in the classroom, bringing people back into small groups. And these are just a number of sort of case topics that we put together, real-life topics from the Southeast Asia region that can be used for a number of different opportunities that don't just involve lectures. So, although field-based interdisciplinary teaching is not simple to arrange, it provides to me, and I'm sure to many others, the best opportunity to illustrate real-life scenarios that students can observe, record, and discuss the options for solutions or interventions to prevent, detect, and respond, as the EPT program and the Global Health Security Agenda are urging us to do. So, a final word from Sihun, Southeast Asia One Health Network, One Health University Network, where the mission is to leverage the training, education, and research capacities of the university network to build the skills, knowledge, and attitude base for One Health leaders. And we're doing that with a mix of what classroom-based and experiential learning right across the region, and very successfully. And so I think One Health is very simple. I think One Health is just purely and simply working together. But I have a final message from the hairdressers of Bangkok. Thank you very much.